Greetings, everyone. I want to talk today about the lunar eclipse that we will experience on May 5th. We're in the middle of this powerful eclipse cycle, having experienced the total solar eclipse on April 19th or 20th, depending on where you are in the globe. And that solar eclipse was at 29 degrees of Aries. And in a moment, I'll show you the chart for this lunar eclipse, in which the sun will be at 14 degrees of Taurus opposite the moon at 14 degrees of Scorpio. But this is an intense time with these eclipses. And I so appreciate the way in which we as a community are holding sacred space for each other, holding each other in love and compassion as we move through the intensity of these times. It was very moving for me to meet a few days ago with my patron group, and we were all sharing about how intense our experience was of that solar eclipse and what it brought up for us emotionally, energetically, spiritually. And I've heard from many of you in the comments that I've received from the video about that solar eclipse about your own intense transformational experiences. So let's continue to hold each other with compassion as we move through this time that is continually intensifying in terms of the energies that we're experiencing. And that solar eclipse was so powerful because of the Pluto squaring the lunar nodes and squaring the sun and moon. And this lunar eclipse will also be very powerful, particularly because of the Uranian energy that it will carry. It will be cutting through illusion, giving us clarity about what's true in our own lives, what's the truth in our collective, what's emerging from the shadows. So let's look at this chart and talk together about how we can navigate this time and work with these energies in the most conscious way possible. Let me show you the chart. So here is the chart for this penumbral lunar eclipse. And when we have a penumbral lunar eclipse, it means it's not a total eclipse. The moon is in alignment with the earth and the sun, and the earth's shadow is falling on the face of the full moon, but it's the outer part of the shadow of the earth that's masking the moon. So we'll still see the light of the moon, but it will be under the influence of the earth's shadow at that time. And you can tell that it's not a total lunar eclipse by the degrees, the distance of the sun and moon from the lunar nodes. When they're within 3 to 6 degrees of the lunar nodes, then we have a total eclipse. Otherwise, it is some form of more partial eclipse. But I think it's significant that what we'll be seeing at the time of the eclipse, for those who will be able to see it, is the shadow of the earth on the light and face of the full moon. And at that time, as I was saying, the sun will be at 14 degrees of Taurus, opposite the moon at 14 degrees of Scorpio, and Uranus will be conjunct the sun opposite the moon. Remember, Uranus is that planet that supports us in cutting through illusion to see the truth, to have clarity, to see to the heart of things. So I do believe that during the time of this eclipse, we're being called to see clearly what is going on in the shadow of the collective consciousness, and what is it in our own deep emotions that we're needing to get more clarity about. Moon in Scorpio is guiding us to dive deep into our own inner experience and see what we need to see that's in the shadows, that's needing to be faced for us to come more fully into the truth of who we are. It's also powerful that at the time of this eclipse, there will actually be a grand square with Uranus and the sun opposite the moon, squaring Hygeia, but also Cheroklo, the centaur, which is now at 13 degrees of Aquarius, opposite Black Moon Lilith at 13 degrees of Leo. What does this grand square mean? Well, a grand square is a very powerful configuration, particularly when it's in the fixed signs, as this grand square is. And Cheroklo and Hygeia is the asteroid that is about our being in a process of physical healing. Cheroklo, one of the centaurs, the consort of Chiron, is about our emotional healing. Remember, as I've talked about in earlier videos, particularly my conversation with Melanie Reinhardt, Cheroklo is that healing energy that guides us to be present with what we're feeling, what we're experiencing, to work with those deep emotions in a healing way. So Cheroklo and Hygeia are bringing their healing energy to us during the time of this eclipse, supporting us in diving deep into our own emotions to get that clarity about ourselves and ways that we may be out of balance and ways in which we need to see more clearly the changes that we need to make to be working this energy in Taurus, which is about what is it we want to manifest and bring into form in this time on the planet. It's significant that the sun is conjunct the asteroid Vesta, the moon's opposite Vesta, next to Mercury, that we're being guided to be clear about our thoughts, Mercury, our intentions. Remember that our energy follows our attention and our intentions. So we're guided in this time to get clarity about Vesta. What is sacred to us? What is it that we want to manifest? And are we coming from a place of clarity, of inner truth, of truly working with our deeper emotions so that we are integrated in what we're bringing out and manifesting in the world in this time? I also think all of this energy in Taurus, and particularly with Uranus in Taurus, is supporting us in coming back into connection with the natural world, with the earth, Taurus. That nature herself is supporting us in seeing how we're out of balance and is giving us clarity about ways in which we need to come back into right relationship with the life around us. I think this is echoed and reinforced in this powerful dynamic with Black Moon Lilith in this grand square at the time of this lunar eclipse. Remember, Black Moon Lilith symbolizes our remembrance of sacred relationship, true mutuality, being in right relationship with each other and with the life around us. Black Moon Lilith carries that energy of the sacred feminine, that remembrance that we are interconnected with all that is, and that true sacred relationship means honoring who we are, but honoring the other and being in a balanced mutual relationship. Lilith is very much also about the importance of balancing the sacred masculine and the sacred feminine, such that there is that respect and mutuality between us as men and women, but also in how we're holding that balance of the sacred masculine and sacred feminine within ourselves. The sacred masculine is our expression of our own individuality. The sacred feminine is our remembrance of how we're in right relationship with ourselves and with each other. So I see this grand square supporting us in healing, getting clarity about what we need to work in our own deep process, what we may need to heal from the wounds of the past, particularly in terms of our wounds in relationship, and how then we can do that emotional healing in ways that are also going to support our physical healing, to be coming back into the truth of who we are, to then be conscious in what we're manifesting in the world and how we are in relationship with each other and with the natural world. I think this whole theme of relationship that's so strong in this lunar eclipse is also symbolized in this powerful square between Neptune in Pisces and Venus in Gemini. How are we holding each other in compassion? How are we in communication with each other, Venus in Gemini, in a way that we're actually hearing each other and being in this sense of true healing relationship with each other? Remember that as we saw at the time of the new moon, the solar eclipse, Mars continues to be squaring Chiron, and Mars is in Cancer, supporting us in being more compassionate in our actions and healing those ways in which we may be harmful in our relationships with ourselves as well as with each other. So there's a strong theme in this lunar eclipse about how do we heal and work our own inner process to be in love and compassion and right relationship within ourselves, to then be able to be more compassionate in our relationships with others and in a more balanced, right relationship with all of the life around us. Remember that being in compassion and right relationship does not mean accommodating the other. It does not mean not valuing yourself. It means being grounded in who you are, in your inner truth, Uranus, in your own awareness of your feelings and needs, so that you are in that love and compassion with and for yourself, to then truly be in mutual relationship with another person or with those around you in a way that's also about holding them in compassion, respect, mutuality. But Uranus being so powerfully at work in this lunar eclipse is saying love needs to be interwoven with truth. Love is not about overlooking what's really going on. It's not about pretending the destructive relationship that you're in is really okay. It's not about accommodating others' abuse or mistreatment of you. It's also not about accommodating the shadow dynamics in the collective that are out of balance, that are harmful. Truth with love is about seeing what's real, having that discernment, honoring your own intuition, seeing through illusion, and holding that loving energy that is about honoring you, being in your wholeness, fullness, the truth of who you are, standing firm in that, and calling others into truth. Love and truth are what support us in being in right harmony, right balance. And sometimes when we're standing in that truth, it means you can't continue to be in a relationship if it's out of balance, if it's abusive, if in your standing firm, in your own truth and your own honoring of yourself, that person is not able to meet you in a respectful, mutual, compassionate way. There isn't that capacity to truly hear each other and work through a conflict to resolution, to that sense of mutual understanding and healing. Then sometimes being in your truth and honoring the deeper meaning of love, sacred relationship, is walking away. Remember that Lilith is that energy of, I need to be in true, mutual, healthy relationship, or I'd rather be alone. So honor the issues that are coming up for you at the time of this lunar eclipse that are supporting you in seeing more clearly the relationships that you're in and how to see the truth of what those dynamics are, and with the support of Cheroklo, strive towards more healing resolution in those relationships, or get clarity, which you're also supported in at the time of this lunar eclipse, to know when it may be time to walk away. As I've said in previous videos, I think this is a critical choice point for all of us on the planet. Pluto square the lunar nodes. We're in an accelerated time of healing and transformation. It's amazing to me to be in interaction with so many of you and have that sense of the awakening that's happening, the ways in which you describe your own accelerated experience of healing and moving into being more true to the fullness of who you are. And I think it's also a time when many are choosing not to awaken, not to heal. Remember that part of this period of time is that we each have to take responsibility for ourselves and our choices individually and then collectively. So we can't control the choices of others, but we can take responsibility for ourselves and how we're living in truth. We're in alignment with love. We're coming from the heart. And sometimes that means saying no, or I can't continue to participate in this dynamic because this isn't about respect. This isn't about love. This isn't about truth. So really honor that during this eclipse, you're going to be supported in having more clarity about ways in which you may be acting in ways that are betraying yourself or not true to yourself, or ways in which you're in unhealthy dynamics in relationship. And you're being supported by Cheroklo to heal, to see more clearly how things are out of balance and how to be in that healing process for yourself and in your relationships with others. But let's look now at where the moon and the sun are in the sky at the time of this eclipse. At the time of this full moon and eclipse, the moon will be right at the fulcrum of the stars of Libra, the scales. As I've talked about before, I think the most ancient archetypal understanding of Libra is that Egyptian principle and goddess Ma'at, which really is symbolic of that energy of harmony, being in right balance, right relationship with all that is. The principles of Ma'at were about how we honor the waters, the trees, the plants, the animals are in right relationship with each other, are in right relationship with the earth. And also remember that Ma'at was the one who meets us after death and balances our heart in one of the scales with a feather in the other scale. So the energy of Libra and the meaning of these stars also holds that sense of how are you in your life clearing what is weighing down your heart? What is it that is unresolved for you that may be giving you a heavy heart? To have your heart as light as a feather means you've cleared the trauma from the past. You feel like you're living in your truth, that you're in balance in who you are and how you're in relationship with those around you. So at the time of this eclipse, allow yourself to take time to meditate and tune into your heart. How is your heart heavy? What is weighing your heart down? What is it that you need to look at, moon in Scorpio, in the chart to be coming into balance within yourself? So allow yourself at this full moon to really honor your heart and what you're needing to clear, what you're needing to heal, to feel more in balance within yourself. I think it's also very significant at the time of this lunar eclipse that the sun conjunct Uranus will be in this powerful part of the sky, which is the dynamic between Perseus the warrior and Cetus the whale. As I've been talking about in my recent videos, this is the part of the sky that is supporting us in looking at the ways in which we get caught in polarization with each other. Perseus and Cetus the whale are about the tensions that can occur between the sacred masculine and the sacred feminine, particularly when the energies of the masculine are out of balance and are the energies that we have in the collective right now of the shadow side of the patriarchal period, which is about power over, dominance, control, my way or the highway, and I'm going to destroy anything in my path that is not in alignment with my being in control. That is a prominent theme in the collective, that this eclipse is saying it is time to clear that. Uranus supporting us in seeing the truth of those out of balance dynamics and shattering those old paradigms in order to have more clarity about how we can truly see each other and rebalance the energies of the sacred masculine and the sacred feminine to be in right relationship, to be in mutual respectful interaction with each other. And how profound is it that at the time of this full moon, Venus squaring Neptune will be between the horns of the bull of Taurus and at the upraised arm of Orion, which, if you remember from my earlier videos, is about radical death, rebirth, transformation. Venus in the horns of the bull. How are we facing this time, this dilemma, this choice point that we're in? How are we working our choices about what we manifest, how we are in relationship? Are we manifesting that sense of death to the old, out of balance, power over, polarizing paradigms? Are we stepping out of violence, stepping out of hostility, stepping out of conflict into that capacity, that healing dynamic of hearing each other, holding each other with respect, with compassion, being in truth with each other? We are really being given an opportunity at the time of this eclipse to examine our relationship with ourselves and our own inner emotions, our own truth. And are we in alignment with that truth? Are we being true to our hearts, to what is sacred to us and how we're manifesting that in who we are in the world? Or are we weighted down? Are our hearts heavy? Are we out of balance? Are we feeling like we're living a life that is not our truth? Are we feeling like we're accommodating others or acquiescing to the demands and expectations in the collective as to who we should be and what we should value and how we should function? This eclipse is saying, cut through illusion, see who you truly are, align with your inner truth, listen to your heart, look at what's weighing your heart down. How do you bring resolution to those ways in which you're caught in shadow aspects of yourself or out of balance dynamics with others? How do you hold that truth and love of wanting sacred relationship, true mutuality in your relationships with others, in how you connect to the natural world, and in what we're asking to be the paradigms in the collective? We each are able to make choices in this time as to what is sacred to us and what we want to manifest in the collective. And I truly believe that we are capable of operating from truth and love, coming from the heart with courage, to be living in this collective and saying, no, I won't live in illusion. I won't accommodate power over in ways that are destructive to me and destructive to my community and destructive to the natural environment. I choose truth. I choose love. I choose harmony. and right relationship. I do not want to weigh my heart down with the awareness, the guilt, the regret of living in ways that aren't in alignment with my truth, that aren't in alignment with my soul self. I choose to clear those ways in which I'm out of balance, to be truthful in my relationships, to seek that true mutuality and respect, or dare to walk away if I'm in an unhealthy relationship, and to dare to say no to the paradigms in the culture that I know are harmful and destructive to me, to others, to the earth, to our capacity to co-create a new world together that is in alignment with the energies, the wisdom of the Aquarian age, which is about coming back into balance and remembering the interconnectedness of all that is. We have this opportunity at this critical choice point to come back into truth and harmony and love. So allow yourself at the time of this eclipse, tune into your heart. Is your heart weighted down with ways that you know you're not living your truth? Is your heart weighted down with ways that you know you're in out of balance dynamics in relationships? And open to the healing energy of Cheroklo, who comes and holds sacred space for us, who holds us with compassion, supports us in seeing and feeling those deeper feelings and aspects of ourselves, in healing the wounds from the past, and in trusting that we can move forward in ways that lighten our hearts and allow us to be in our truth and allow us to come back into harmony and into right relationship with all that is. May we continue to hold that Cheroklo energy with and for each other in this intense time, to know that we are in healing community with each other, to support each other in this time of transformation, to support each other in living in truth from the heart with love. Blessings to all of you. Blessed be.